Morning is all about a new attitude, a new attitude. The text to talk and the takeaway. The text comes from Philippians 4:11. You know it well. Let me give you the context. Here is Paul writing a thank you letter out of the prison of Rome, and he is handcuffed to the Praetorian Guard, and he writes a letter to them thanking them for the money that they put on his books while he's in prison, literally. As a result of this being in prison, he makes a statement that just blows you away. I have learned, Philippians 4:11, I have learned in whatever state I am in to be content. Not to be satisfied, but to be content. Contentment has to do with one's attitude. And therefore, I want to raise the question as well as give you three things that will help you with respect to your contentment or your attitude with the circumstances that you're dealing with, so that you may be able to lead out of that situation and be successful. The first thing is this: attitude has to do little with circumstances. It has very little to do with your circumstances. In other words, here is Paul, who is in prison, but his attitude is such that I'm content. I'm content. That means that he has done the second thing. He has adjusted his attitude. Many times, because our circumstances are bad, we then permit our attitude to be bad. Our situation is bad, so we then permit our attitude to be bad. That whole thing, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Or that whole thing, you know what, I'm going through some stuff. Well, at the end of the day, come on, know that attitude has little to do with your circumstances, because Paul is in prison, but he says, I'm content. And guess what he says? I've adjusted my attitude. He used this word. Paul said, I've learned. I've learned. Jot that down in the chat area. That word learn has to do with knowing or learning about a secret. It has to do with someone who is diligently trying to get to in-depth knowledge about a particular thing. In Paul's case, he says, I've learned this secret. Whatever I find myself in, I adjust my attitude. The third thing is this: attitudes can change the situation. What do I mean by that? Now, because my attitude has to do with the direction that I'm pointed. What do I mean by that? Attitude, that word comes from the nose, the pointing of the nose of a plane. That is what that flight level means. That if an attitude of a plane is pointed up, it's going to go up. If it's pointed down, it's going to go down. So when a pilot is talking to another pilot, or the air traffic controller, they're asking, what is your attitude? Or he looks on his instruments and he sees the attitude, the direction or the pointing of the nose of the aircraft. Therefore, you have to understand, you have to point up. Come on now. You have to point up. No matter the circumstance, point up, raise up, lift those hands and give him praise. That'll cause you to point up. And therefore, it can change the situation. It can change the situation because you have now changed the atmosphere by the direction in which you are pointed. What's your takeaway this morning? If your current attitude isn't working, get a new one so you can become successful in your leadership. If you don't get a new attitude, then your success is dependent upon it. So, if your current attitude isn't working, get a new one, because your success depends on it. The Lord be with you today. May His face shine upon you, give you peace. I'll see you tomorrow morning with more morning manna, as well as our midweek morning prayer at 7:15. And know, all week long, I'm dealing with leadership lessons for success. Today, get a new attitude. God bless you. Bye now. Share the manna. I almost forgot. Share the manna. Bye now.